my name is Xiaomeng, and I have been a member of this community since 2020. If you are a new member, please accept our wholehearted welcome. If you have any questions about our practices and topics, we are all here to help. If you are a regular, welcome back. It is customary in Australia to begin any meetings by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, study, reside, the Bodhi people of the Dharma nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I also pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are. So the check-in session have been developed by our communities of practice team and the entire community. The sessions aim to develop a reflective practice in response to changes. Guided by humanistic Buddhism, we'd like to cultivate our practices and build memorable friendships. So last week, we were privileged to have Venerable Zhisheng share a story about Ananda and the cookies. This week, we are delighted to have Venerable Miao Guang back to continue her sharing of the Bodhi tales with us. So today she will share a story titled The Poorest. So let's please welcome Venerable Miao Guang.
Hello, thank you very much, Xiaomeng. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on this session again. Very happy to see all of you. So before we begin, I'd like to invite everyone to join me in a 3-minute mindfulness practice. So first of all, just to make sure that you are comfortably seated in your chair. Both of your feet on the floor, on the ground, and your spine gently straightened without exerting too much stress onto your muscles or your back. If you can, please place both of your hands on your thighs with your arms comfortably and naturally hanging off your shoulders. Just a quick visualization of your position as if you are right across from yourself. See if a cross that supports your body shows a balance of your shoulders and that your head is comfortably seated on the center, right between your shoulders. Now we move to your left-hand side as if you're looking at yourself from the left. Again, visualize the straight line to see whether your neck, your spine, your waist are in a straight line. So your head is not tilting forward too much, which will exert a lot of stress and pressure onto your neck. Now that we are ready, once again, let's practice the full open awareness through a body scan. Just as my body rests on this chair, when my mind rests on this body and let it guide me across the journey of full open awareness by a development of awareness and presence of my body. So let's begin by placing our attention on the top of our head. As I become aware of the presence of skin on the top of my skull, I tell myself there's nothing but skin. Now moving to the back of your head, all the way to your neck. Skin. Down your left shoulder to your arm, your right shoulder to your arm. Skin. As I'm aware of the presence of skin, I develop a sense of openness and gratitude without attachment, as if I'm walking through a field with a bag of seeds that has a hole in it. Once I passed, the seed leaks, drops onto the ground. It stays on the ground. It's no longer with me. Now focus on your chest and your back. Skin. Your abdomen, your waist. Skin. Your pelvis, through your left thigh, knee, shin, left foot. Skin. Your right thigh, knee, shin, right foot, skin. As we do this, we try to relax. And if any time our mind wanders away, it's okay. Smile and tell ourselves, my mind has taken myself on a drive. Now I'm just going to come back to this presence without any sense of attachment, just fully open and becoming aware of the presence of the body. Now we'll do a quick round from the bottom of our feet all the way to the top of our head. This time, as I'm aware of the presence in my left foot, leg, right foot, leg, there's the presence of flesh. My lower torso, upper torso, flesh. Left arm, right arm, flesh. My neck, my head, flesh. Again, a quick trip from the top of our head all the way to the bottom of our body. Head, neck, bones. Left arm, right arm, bones. My spine, my chest, bones. My waist and pelvis, bones. My left leg to my left foot, bones. My right leg to my right foot, bones. As I'm aware of the presence of skin, flesh, and bones in my body, I do so with a sense of open awareness that none of these is to become attached to, which goes the same to everything in the rest of this world. I simply observe, feel, and experience the presence of everything with a sense of gratitude, open awareness, and without attachment. Now you may slowly open your eyes with a smile. This concludes our short minutes of mindfulness practice. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, Xiaowang, for sharing screen. Today, I would like to share with everyone story number 132 from Bodhi Light Tales podcast. The story is titled The Poorest. And the reason I've chosen this story is because I have just recently returned from Singapore and Malaysia, possibly just crossing paths with Venerable Miao Guang in the air. And when I was in Singapore, I came across a group of young boys who are a part of the children's class. They approached me, joined their palms, and thanked me. And they told me, I listen to your podcast every night. This gave me tremendous joy and happiness in their faces and their very, very cute and bouncy voice. So I asked one of the boys, what is your favorite story? And I believe the question caused him to panic a little bit. He was racking his brain very hard to remember which story he should mention. So I guess the last story he heard was actually this one, The Poorest. And in the story, it's actually about one of the Buddha's most prestigious Upasaka disciple, Sujata, who wanted to give away a box of gold. But the trick is to give it away to the poorest person in this country. So he asked around, and at the end of the day, people pointed him towards King Prasenajit, the king of the country, who they considered to be the poorest, which was to his surprise. But nevertheless, he approached King Prasenajit and said, I've been told to give you this box of gold because you're the poorest person in this country. This angered the king, and he said, how can I be the poorest? I own mountains of gold and treasure. I can buy anything with my wealth. Why am I the poorest? And in reply, Sujata said, in the minds of your people, you are the poorest because you have no concern about your people. You never care about their wealth and well-being. All you care is about accumulating your own wealth. And somehow this struck a chord in the mind of King Prasanajit. And so at the end of the story, it had that the Buddha actually taught him a very important message. That is, the true meaning of wealth is not how much you own, but how wealthy and how generous your mind is. So I had a chance to revisit this story and rethink about my definition of wealth. Usually when we think of wealth, we consider it to be a gain, isn't it? A gain that is acquired through our hard work, the duties that we fulfill. And so when we have this wealth, we begin to take the first step in counting our blessings, as people always tell us, always count your blessings. But how do we count our blessing? We usually begin with the blessings that we can see and touch, isn't it? So usually it would be how much money we have, how much possessions we have, and then slowly we move to the mental and spiritual wealth, that is our family and friends. And then at the end of the day, a truly awakened person may turn towards the wealth of wisdom, compassion, and kindness. And so as I think about it this way, I no longer see wealth as a gain or an accumulation. I begin to consider it as a blessing in disguise. It is a blessing in disguise because it puts your kindness, your ability to become attached, or your ability to not become attached, as well as your generosity to test. In other words, how you spend your money, it's your freedom. But from the perspective of Dharma, how you spend your money, how you use your money, shapes your personality. And that personality will determine how wealthy you are as a practitioner. A couple of years ago, we were organizing a Life and Chan event, which welcomed 1,200 college students to Taiwan. And as the organizer, Venerable Master Xing Yun instructed me to give them an envelope with 1,000 NT inside the envelope to every student who comes to register, which is about 50 Australian dollars. I was reluctant, so I said to him, I believe most of them can cover their finance expenses. If they can buy a ticket, I believe they can afford $50 Australian dollars. But Venerable Master said, you don't understand. If they are new and strange to this land, when they land, they will need to buy a phone card to call home. They might miss maybe a pair of socks. They might need to buy toiletry. But in such a short time, if they're not able to find a place to exchange currencies, they will be deprived. So do as I say. This taught me a great lesson, that in giving money, I was doing so without a sense of equality. I felt like I was the giver and they were the receiver. Of course, Venerable Master saw it in the same way. He was the giver. But as a generous giver, what he was nurturing were actually grateful receivers. So when a lot of these students were reluctant to take the money because they were shameful and they said, I can't accept this money, Venerable Master said, today, if you learn to be a grateful receiver, tomorrow you become a generous giver. And that's how our blessings become extended into the infinite future. So who's the poorest? Who's the most wealthy? I felt like in our practices every day, in our connections every day, giving can be so simple and straightforward. And if we do so with a sense of equality and compassion, then everything is fine. Every person in this world can become the wealthiest because of you. So that's all I have to share today, and I hope you enjoy the story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Venerable Miao Guang, for sharing with us this story and for emphasizing the importance of compassionate giving. And if you ask me what is my favorite Bodhi light tale, I will say that my favorite one will be the Where is Happiness, about the dogs chasing their tails. So now let's discuss the following questions in the breakout room discussion. The first one is, what does wealth mean to you? And the second one is, how can individuals with wealth contribute to the betterment of society and make a positive impact on the lives of others? Do remember the two questions? And now we will be placed in groups of 3 to 4 to share and discuss. In the discussion, we recommend you spend some time getting to know each other and then discussing our questions. Now, there will be some Zoom notifications to guide you, but feel free to let the flow of your discussions guide you. Our sessions are guided by metta, which is unconditional love and kindness for all sentient beings. So let's use this breakout session to express and receive loving kindness to and from one another, and take time to pause, share, and listen. We'll also ask you to share some of your findings with the larger group at the end of the breakout room discussion. So now let's go to our breakout rooms for rich and nourishing discussions. See you all back in 15 minutes. Okay, well, welcome back, everyone. We hope that you already have a lovely discussion in the breakout rooms. And now please feel free to write some of your reflections and thoughts regarding the discussion in the chat box. And since it's already 11:30, so I may just share my screen to finish the official session so we can enter the plenary session. But keep writing. Our poster team will later design a beautiful poster for the sessions. So thank you, Venerable Miao Guang, and we really hope the check-in session was helpful to you. And we hope you experienced the unconditional love and compassion of this community. But for anyone who might be experiencing a greater need than what today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. And you can also reach out to the professional organizations on the screen. So next week, Venerable Miao Guang and her team will bring us another Bodhi light tale and share the wisdom of Venerable Master Xing Yun with us. That will be the final session of the Bodhi light tale sharing series. So if you have time, please come and join us. And we are also calling for the turning point stories for the second half of the year. So if you are interested in sharing your stories and reflections with the community, please message us in the chat box or inform us by email. As we check out today, let's recite the dedication of merits together to sign love and compassion to whoever is in need.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
So thank you, Venerable Miao Guang, for your time and generous sharing with us today. And thank you, Lai Ching, for being our IT master behind the scenes. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Now we will have our usual plenary session. So please stay around if you have time. Otherwise, see you all again next Sunday at 11 a.m.